Awesome, you guys. Welcome. Today's been a good day. It's been a Tuesday. Good days are always Tuesdays, right? It's not Monday. We're gonna be doing editing Tuesday here, and so before we do that, we're gonna let a few people get in. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk about a couple of the things. It's a little messy back there. We've just been unpacking all kinds of stuff. Actually, if I could show you the entire office, we've got gear everywhere. It's just one of those days. Ben Adams' camera actually broke at the last wedding, and so we're sending that back to Canon. 7200 was like super loose. Like it was weird. It was really weird. You could like jiggle it. So now that's being sent out. We've just been kind of doing an inventory check here. Anyhow, today you guys, I had a chance to interview a couple people for the podcast. Alan Moyle, Alan Moyle and Dennis Reggie were on the podcast today. Got that interviews. They're in the bag. They should be coming out to you guys in the next week, in 2 weeks. Anyhow. So there you go. That's what we're up to. And I'm editing today. That's literally, apart from the interviews, I'm editing all day. And we're going to hop over and edit live with you guys. If this is your first time joining Six Figure Live, this is just a chance for me to bring you behind the scenes at what goes on at Style and Story Creative. Just the day in, day out interactions that we have, what we're up to as a studio. And so there still is a fair amount of editing that goes on. Even when we we use Shoot.edit for a lot of our bulk editing. But even when we get stuff back from Shoot.edit, we make sure to go through and quality control everything, make sure it's perfectly up to the Style and Story Creative standards, I guess is the right word for it. And usually very little to do, but I always want to make sure that everything looks great. As well, we do skin retouching, spot removal on the bride and groom, so we are going back in and making sure that's finessed. All right, you guys, we're going to hop into an image here, but before we do that, we're going to buy some more time, let more people get in here. For Editing Tuesday, I'm going to jump in and take a look at editing, actually an NFL football player's wedding. And we're going to look at a really tricky image that I actually don't yet know how I'm going to edit with you guys. I'm just going to have to do it off the cuff, right on the fly. So here we go. Six Figure Live, episode 40. Awesome, you guys. So thank you for joining. We are on episode 40 of Six Figure Live, and it's Editing Tuesday. That simply means we're going to hop over, we're going to jump inside of Lightroom, and I'm going to do some live editing with you guys. I've got a really interesting wedding that I want to take a look at. There's one particular image. There's one image in particular that I think is going to be really challenging. And so I figured I would give myself a challenge and not just edit something that I already know perfectly how to edit. And put myself on the spot live for you guys. So no guarantees that it's going to rock it the first time. But honestly, some of the best images we'll edit once. We'll create a virtual copy and edit again. And so maybe we'll try that here. Without further ado, let's take a look inside of Lightroom. So here's what we got. We got this image here that we shot. This is Brian Hartley and Kara. We shot this with I'll talk a little bit about what we shot. So shot with a 24 millimeter. This is a tilt shift shot. We used a tilt shift because I shifted up the image plane in order to create these lines to be a little bit more straight up and down. I actually overcorrected slightly, and so they're, instead of going in, they're going out just a little bit. So that could be someplace where we start. Anyhow, shot this with 24 f5 1/200th of a second ISO 1000, and we did put a gelled backlight on. So there's a gelled backlight. I used a mag mod on a 600, fired it wirelessly from my camera with a grid and a CTO gel, color temperature orange. My guess is it was a CTO half, so half density. Color temperature orange. I used the orange because I wanted to match up with some of the orange lights going on in here. The tricky thing about this image is up here you notice there was a skylight that was letting in all this daylight. And so I think the shot's going to get really green because we've got this orange tungsten light going on mixing with the blue daylight. And so this is going to get real weird. Let's jump in and see just how weird it's going to get. Maybe to start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of fix my lines here because we're close to perfect, but we're just not there. So I'm going to go ahead and just change my vertical to match up. You could do constrain to crop, might as well, sure. And then I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my symmetry is spot on. Okay, cool. Now let's take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and start with this Downstar Creative Paint Kit. This is the set of presets that I've developed that kind of layer up the image. And so we start with a base coat. Then from here, we're going to go to a top coat. And now I'm going to start pulling up my exposure. And as I told you guys, dun dun dun, the telltale signs of green. So this is just me kind of BSing it here as we go. So let's start messing with our white balance. We'll get rid of the green with a little magenta here. I want to get some more information back in these curtains. And so maybe what we'll go ahead and do is create a couple gradients here. And within this gradient, I'm going to pull the shadows and the clarity and see maybe even just the overall exposure if we can get a little bit more information here. Now, we're already starting to get bleed on this gradient, and that's something, when I say bleed, I just mean the halo, right? If I were to uncheck this, you're going to see a halo there. That's some BS right there. We don't want to see halos in our work, all right? And so let's go ahead. I think the clarity is a little too high anyhow. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to brush this out. So we're going to go to the brush tool. We're going to go to erase. We'll put our flow at about half, bring that feather down, and I'm going to start brushing out that that halo. We don't want that halo, guys, all right? All right, cool. So we'll brush that out a little bit. Nice, sweet. So now with this, I'm going to go ahead and right-click, duplicate it, and I'm going to drag this hog right over here, and I can layer, if I hold on the red, nice, and we're going to continue to now erase this part out. Gradient's really cool because you can just duplicate that, and you can just bring it wherever you need to. Now let's try to bring one of these over top of the client here in the middle. My guess is the clarity is going to be too high, and we're going to need to do some adjusting here. Actually, it's kind of sexy, but once again, we need to get rid of our halo. I can see your halo, halo, halo. All right, cool. Get rid of that. Hey, we're starting to get somewhere. What if we add another gradient and let's bring up kind of the glow of these lights a little bit? You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? So maybe we'll bring the clarity down just a tiny bit to give a little bit of that glow appeal. We'll mess with some highlights up, maybe a little touch of the shadows up, and we can warm that up. It's going to be real sensitive. So as we add some warmth, I also want to add a little bit of magenta to balance that warmth so it's not just yellow. Once again, I'm duplicating it, and I'm dragging it over there. Hey, we're starting to get somewhere. I think from a crop standpoint, I'm not really a fan of this space up here where we're seeing the daylight. So let's get rid of that shenanigans. Okay, cool. I don't want to see you, data. How do I get that out? I. Cool. If you press I, it gets rid of the data. I think that there's, I want to burn this down a little, so I'm going to create a gradient here that's going to maybe bring this exposure down a hair and start to draw our attention more towards the bride and groom. So I just simply pulled that exposure down just a tidbit there. Okay, cool. I'm digging that. Let's zoom in and see what's going on here. Quick little thing here with this couple. One of the things that I did when I shot this is I actually used live view to shoot it. That way I could see the back of the camera. I zoomed in and made sure that the couple was in focus because with the tilt shift lens, it is a manual focusing lens. And so when you're that far back and you're that wide, it can get real dicey. So that's what I did. Let's zoom back in here and see what's going on. We'll address noise and grain in a minute. But right now, let's clean up. You can see the stand back here where I had my flishy flashy. Yeah, that cleaned it up good enough. Let's kind of go up. I don't really like the line of the door there, so let's see if we can pull that out. Again, I'm just going to try to play with the spot removal tool here. Sometimes I'll have to layer it a little bit to get the right effect. And now you'll see that where I started to enter his hair, if I close this, you see how it like pulls that highlight up? It's because there was a point of contrast that I grabbed right with the hair. So I'm going to just gently drag this up until that pulling goes away. Okay, cool. That's sweet. Now I'm going to layer one right over top of that and see if I can get rid of that where it was kind of being funky. And we'll see if it'll not get funky. Sometimes I'll just drag this around until I see a spot that it chooses to pull from. that it does less weird things. When I say weird things, it's like this stuff where like it emphasizes the noise. It almost like enhances the noise. So one way to avoid that would be to bring the opacity down and to go to like a 60%, and so it's going to kind of layer that noise on top of each other. And that's a great way to solve that problem. Really, right now, you guys, I'm literally problem solving on the fly with you. So, it just is what it is. Hopefully I solve well. Let's kind of zoom back and see. Okay, cool. We got rid of some of the distractions there. I still see a couple of the distractions. Looks like some asshole left their 7200 in the corner of the frame with their bottle of water. It's probably me. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So we're going to, again, see where it pulled from there and it emphasizes that noise. I'm going to start dragging up until that emphasis goes away and it lines that line up with the other one. Nice, just like that. This one's going to be tricky, and I might have to, well, we'll just see. I might have to make something. Ooh, that spot kind of works. Oopsies. I'm going to go with that. No one's ever going to look down here. They would have seen the lens, but they're not going to see that and think too much about it. Okay, cool. I'm digging this. This is before, this is after. Again, this is before without the, it's not showing us the original crop and adjustment. Let's do something else. Let's go ahead. You guys have the spot removal tool. A lot of people will use it in this way, right? They'll go in here and they'll be like, oh, here's some bull. Let's remove it and take that away. But one thing I like to do is sometimes I'll grab some shenanigans and I'll click on an empty spot and I'll add stuff in, right? So what if we duplicate these lights? I need to make my selection area a little bit bigger, perhaps. But what if we add in a light, right? And kind of further emphasize some of that symmetry that's going on. And now we can do the same here. We can grab this area and let's drop in a light here and see if we can get that going. Again, we're really pushing this. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm digging this. Okay, cool. So before, after, let's zoom back in. Man, this is looking good. Let's go ahead and do a light noise removal. It's just a part of the paint kit that I have. I don't want to get too clean, too polished. There's an intentional grain that's being put in this image, and so I'm not mad about it. Let's go noise removal medium and see. Okay, yeah. I think I'm happy with noise removal medium, but I might want to bring up the sharpness a little bit because it softened things up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo noise removal medium, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of a heavier noise removal for the couple here where I pulled them up a little bit more in this area and keep the detail in the rest of the frame. And so let's get rid of that clarity that I was doing, and we'll go ahead and just pull up this noise removal just on them a little bit more. But I'm not mad about noise, you guys. I think too many photographers worry too much about noise. So you know what? I'm pretty stoked about this. One thing that's bugging me that I could have done better in camera would have been fix this spill, get that grid so it was not falling onto the floor as much. So I can go in here and maybe just pull down some of these highlights, some of these whites a little bit in this area. Along the floor here, just so it's not quite as distracting. And then again, I will go ahead and oopsies, erase, not add it on. Let's erase it off of her dress because I accidentally brushed onto her dress. We'll increase the feather a little bit. Okay, cool. Man, I gotta tell you what, you guys, that is a good edit. Let's take a look. Oopsies, I've got the things still selected. Wait for it. There it is. Boom. I accept this as a final edit deliverable to a client. I think this is really interesting. And there you go, you guys. There were some struggles there. There's some interesting problems that we had to solve and some stuff that we were able to add in and make it, I think, a little bit more symmetrical, a little bit more interesting, add in some light. But again, I think the core principles were there. And this was intentionally shot, by the way, again, if we look at it underexposed, right? It was intentionally shot underexposed because I wanted to preserve these highlights and I knew I could bring up the information to really make it exactly what it is. So There you go. You guys, what I want to do tomorrow is I want to critique some work. And so we've already gotten a handful of submissions. I'm going to make sure to drop in the submission form below. But if you watch this and you want to get your work critiqued, I want to better the community. I want to see your guys' work. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how we can get better as photographers. And so we're going to critique some work tomorrow live with you guys. And so submit it. I've got a submission form that I'm going to drop in immediately after this goes up. And just simply drop in images, JPEGs, 900 wide. You can do 3 of them. Hell, if you want to do more, submit more. I want to see it. Actually, I better hold off on saying that. I'm going to get someone who's going to send me 50 images. Let's just do 3. Let's do 3, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. You know what? It's not going to be able to be at 1 o'clock EST because I have a premiere date, which simply means I'm presenting images to a client tomorrow. And so it's going to have to be after that. Fingers crossed. Actually, you know what? Maybe Ben and Steven can do it. We'll see. Send over work. We're going to critique it. We're going to critique it. And thanks, you guys. Thanks for checking us out. Actually, let me hop back to me. Hi. Thanks for checking this out, you guys. I'll drop the link for you, and we'll see you tomorrow, episode 41, SF Live. Thanks, everybody. Bye. I gotta find the end button. Where is it? There it is. Bye, everybody.